Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we will be making a summer sunflower crochet towel hanger for your kitchen. But first I wanted to mention that you should stay till the end of the video for a special message and a Patreon shout out. Today I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm just gonna go ahead and use the same cup coaster that we made on Sunday. I will link you to that video in the description. We're gonna be using that same pattern. You can use a different pattern that I will show you later on this week if you want. But just for the sake of simplicity, I'm gonna go ahead and use this just to show you how to throw together this towel hanger. So first you're going to take whatever color you want. You can make it green if you want to kind of, you know, imply a leaf, because this is gonna be showing just a little bit from behind your cup coaster, or I should say towel hanger. So you're gonna make a slip knot, and then you are going to chain 6. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 6 times. And then you're gonna yarn over, and one stitch away from the stitch you just came out of, you're gonna go through that stitch, and you're gonna do a single stitch. So go through the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And you're gonna go all the way back to the first stitch, and this is our second row, and you will have a total of 5 stitches. Make sure you count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 1. And this will get us into our third row. Now you can go into the same stitch that you just came out of if you want, or you can skip it. Go into that next stitch, that's what I'm doing here at least. Do a single stitch, and do that all the way across. And then at the very end, you'll see that so far we only have 4 stitches. But that chain stitch that we did to get up into our second row, we're gonna go through that, and that'll be our 5th stitch. Crocheting it this way will keep the edges from being wobbly. It'll make it a little bit more straight. Whereas if you go into the same stitch that you just came out of, you will have a more wobbly edge, which personally, I'm kind of a fan of it. I like the texture, I think it's very interesting, but some people prefer a more straight edge. So either way, you're gonna keep going back and forth, so you have 5 stitches in each row, and depending on the size of your loop, you can make this a little bit taller or shorter. It's totally up to you. And I'm not gonna lie, I made it a little bit more difficult for the video. You can go ahead and just do 15 rows, and then you can just skip a few of the steps that I show in this video. But for now, we are going to take your cup coaster or towel hanger decoration and flip it over so you're on the back side. And we are going to sew this piece on horizontally with our sewing needle. You can use your crochet hook to loop the thread through to sew it on that way. I have a smaller yarn needle that I will be using. So to keep it more secure, I'm going through 2 stitches at a time. So I'm going behind 2 strands, and then I'm coming up through my work. This doesn't have to be pretty, it is going to be on the back side of your project, so it is not the most important thing. Just make sure that you do not sew through to the front, because especially if you use a different color, this will show through if you go to the front. And you don't want just random little patches of color poking out. Once you have that first bit sewn on, go ahead and tuck in your string so that it's out of the way, and you can go ahead and trim it. And then for your loop, I highly recommend using a clear shower curtain hoop. That way you can remove it, because it has a little clippy bit. The hooks do. The hoops, I should say. And it's clear, so it can match, you know, whatever. You can get colored ones to match if you want, but it's kind of hard to match colors with you know, different materials and stuff, so I just recommend doing clear, because you could also make a bunch of other things. You can make, they usually come with, crap, I have absolutely no idea, maybe like 12 or 14 or something. But anyway, you can make towel holders for like any season. You can make them as gifts for other people to match their kitchens. So the clear ones are much more versatile. You can make lots of different things. So once you insert your hoop, geez, go ahead and sew just above it, a few rows up, and then tuck in your string and trim off the excess. You want to make sure that you tuck it in both ways, that way it will not come out, especially if you plan on washing this. So once your hook is in there, we're gonna go ahead and make the loop to loop it around, like an oven handle or a cabinet handle. So you can go ahead and make another slip stitch if you're doing it the way I did it, or if you already have the rest of the 15 rows that I told you to make, then you don't really need to pay attention at the moment. But if you are following along, go ahead and make your magic loop, your slip knot, sorry, and then chain 6 again. And then we're gonna go across each row 5 stitches, and you can do that, you know, however long you want it to be. I recommend 15 rows. That's just about a good size. It just barely peeks out from behind the work, or at least for my work. And I didn't realize it while I was crocheting it, but I forgot to leave a little hole in the last row for the button to slip through. So you'll see me fix that in a minute. But what you can do is do 1 single crochet in your 15th row and then chain 2. Well, it depends on what size button you're using. If you're using about 1 inch, then chain 2 and then single stitch 2 in your last 2 stitches. And then tuck in your tail, and what I did is I tucked the tail in back through that same row so that it kind of strengthened it so it wouldn't stretch as much, so that it fits around the button for, you know, a longer period of time, more snugly, it doesn't come loose. Anyway, so you're gonna sew on one end if you made this part separate from the first part. And then once that is sewn on, you're gonna sew on your button. You can use regular thread and needle to sew on the button if you want. I'm going to use my yarn needle and some yarn because it's a little bit easier for me. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go through the button first. You're going to come up through the bottom of the button, and then you're going to go back down, you know, the other side of the button. And if you have the 4 holes, you can make an X shape, or like the 2 lines if you want, like horizontal lines. I only have the 2 holes, so I'm just gonna go up through the top, or up through the bottom, down, and then I'm gonna repeat that just so it's a little more secure. And then I'm gonna go back to my crochet hook to actually attach the button to the work. So I'm gonna go through up under a couple of these stitches, and I'm gonna bring one side of the button through the string, and then I'm gonna do the same thing in the opposite direction for the other side of the button string. Once I have both sides tucked in, I'm gonna start tying these little strings together. I'm gonna go onto one side of the button and I'm gonna make a knot, and then I'm gonna wrap around to the other side of the button, the top side of the button, and I'm gonna make a double knot. And then I can tuck in the excess string and trim it. And there you go, super easy little craft. If any of these instructions were confusing in any way, shape, or form, let me know in the comments and I will try to explain them in a little bit better detail. Big shout out to Jamie McBride for being my first patron over on Patreon. Really appreciate it. Moving on to my little message for you guys. If any of you are having trouble keeping up with these videos, I have a special offer just for you. Hanging your towel on your cabinet door just doesn't look good. It's time to upgrade. Samara's Summer Sunflower Crochet Kitchen Set is available for pre-order on Patreon. Only 5 sets are available, so grab your stylish summer set before it's gone. Made of 100% cotton and machine washable. Thank you for watching my cringy little ad. I hope you learned something in this video. If not, let me know what I can do to help you. If you post your work on social media, tag samlescreations. I would absolutely love to see it. I hope you have a wonderful day and happy crocheting!